Hello and welcome to Love It Film. My name is Jamie, and once again, I always say thanks for choosing our podcast. Today's guest is another filmmaker. He is a director of a new movie called Best Man, Dead Man. If you're into, mystery movies mixed with comedies and cocktails, trust me, it makes sense when we get into the interview. This movie is the movie for you. But without further ado, let's get into it. Verner, thank you so much for coming on to Love It Film, man. You have a movie come out recently, Best Man, Dead Man, and I've had fun time of watching the movie. What can you tell for people watching who haven't seen the film about Best Man, Dead Man?
Yeah, so, the way I like to kind of welcome people to it is, it's a murder mystery comedy, so it's super camp. And, if you're a big fan of Clue or The Hangover, that's kind of the mashup of how I describe the movie. And, I think it's a movie that you turn on when you're looking for a light time and you're not trying to think too hard and you're just trying to enjoy chaotic, fun mayhem.
Yeah. I feel like that's the best way to describe it too, because I feel like when it starts, it could go any way, I mean, I was thinking when it started, when the character Sam, and for people who don't know, is it's kind of like your main character of the movie. I know everyone kind of has a big enough role. I was thinking, where's this going to go? Is this going to be like, is there going to be a ghost in this who pop up? Is there going to be like a ghost face style thing? But it was completely different. It was something I haven't seen before, which was really, really cool. And you guys used cocktails a lot to kind of tell the audience what was going on. Like, I have it written down here, the Fuck Me Up Daiquiri, which I thought was very funny. And like, dude, the way you shot those scenes of like the cocktails being made, walk me through that. Like, did you get like a professional bartender in to do that?
No, that was the character who plays the bartender. His name is Jack Ireland, and he went out of his way to go to like a bartending kind of class to make sure he knew how to make every drink before we filmed it. And the inspiration behind it was definitely a lot of Wes Anderson with his little tight insert shots, and Dexter. I don't know if you've seen the show, but there's
I love Dexter.
Yeah. So the opening sequence, there's a lot of that kind of really small commercial, like slicing of the oranges and stuff like that. So we took a lot from that. And then on the very last day, we shot all those drink sequences in one day. And we just took our time with it. And we just tried to make sure we got as many little different inserts of it, and just to try to kind of capture as much magic that we could let our editor, Kaylee, kind of have her own hand on it as well to really make it work. And thankfully it did. It was a lot of fun. And once the sound design kind of comes into it and really gives you those like nice little moments of audio, it was great, so I had a good time.
I mean, yeah, it's good for things like anything to do with like a murder mystery too. Like you mentioned shows like Dexter, where like, Strawberry Daiquiri is a great cocktail to use for that, with all the red and stuff like blood. It was so cool, man. I loved it, for yourself, I know I've seen on like, say, your IMDb and stuff, you've been like in a production assistant, you've worked in loads of like big films, like I saw things like you're a production assistant on Planet of the Apes, Iron Man 3, stuff like that. Did working on those, say, big projects in any type of role help how you would work on your own project? Did that shape how you do things today?
Absolutely, yeah. As you said, like I worked as a production assistant. I've also worked as an assistant to directors on different television shows and movies. And a lot of those directors have done big things in their own right. Like one of those directors is Carl Franklin, who Devil in a Blue Dress, and also does a lot of the Ryan Murphy kind of American Monster series shows. And Owen Harris, who is more recently directing the new Game of Thrones show that's going to come out, I think, next year.
Oh, cool.
And so I learned a lot from those people. I think the biggest thing I kind of take from working in production, especially in television, is how to manage your time and how to really milk the ability to do what you can in one day and kind of schedule out your day to work in a way that benefits you and your ability to do as much as you can while not sacrificing too much artistic integrity. So I think I really took a lot of that with me. And I think I'm really proud of that, because I feel more confident going into shooting with an ability to get what we need to do and in a certain amount of time, to really be respectful of like actors' times, your crew time, because when you do a film of any size, but when you do it of like a certain budget, you're asking a lot of people for not a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So I think when you give them the respect of saying, hey, I'm going to take your time and I'm going to use it fruitfully and respectfully, they'll all do a little extra for you as well. So I think that's kind of where that experience helped me really show them like, oh, I know how your time is. I'm going to manage it respectfully and in a fun way too. We want to make a movie. We want to have fun. We want to feel like we're contributing to something creative, So,
I mean, that's something you could tell straight away from just even being a viewer watching the movie. You could tell your cast were having a good time. Like when people were saying funny things or whatever, you could see that the actors were coming out of their characters a bit and actually really, really enjoying themselves, which was, for me anyway, it was fun to watch, Was there anything while making this that was like, or any scene even that was a huge challenge that you haven't done before where it's like, oh my God, I'm in the thick of it now. How the hell am I going to do this?
Yeah, I think one of them that stands out is when, as you'll see, there's an officer that shows up to the house and he kind of comes in and walks around the whole space. I remember when we were looking at that in the space, I just thought, oh my God, this guy has to walk around like the entire area. Everybody is here on the same day at the same time. And there's so much like blocking movement that happens around. I just thought I was literally afraid of filming it because I just didn't know how we were going to get it all, especially in one day. But thankfully that cast was so united together, like in their friendship, and they all come from like a comedy improv background. So they all were so ready for anything and everything. And I just needed to be ready to capture it. So I think what helped was just a lot of rehearsal and just making sure we walked the movement of what it was going to be. And once we kind of knew on a map, basically like how that was all going to go in this kind of fun circle, it was just up to me and the cinematographer, Chris Hare, to really pick our moments and like how we were going to start from like a master or come in for a close-up or make a decision and say, all right, we're not going to cover this part. We're just going to get like this and this and this, Mm-hmm. So it was just a lot of patience and a lot of kind of trial and error for certain things. But I think because the cast was so good and they were on top of their own actions and dialogue, it helped us just to make sure like, all right, we just need to be here to cover it. And then we'll get them on the turnaround and such and such. So I think that was the hardest, but it was also gratifying because once we got it, we were just like, wow, I can't believe we did that. Like amazing, self pat on the back for everybody because it was a challenge, but definitely a fun moment, I think another fun one to a challenge was like at the very end, there's a long, like running kind of wraparound.
Yeah.
And I think because it was finding the way to make sure it all cut together properly with those whip pans, that was like a fun creative challenge of like, all right, and we all had to shoot those pieces on different days. So it was kind of making sure everyone matches the same energy and just all these things. So while that was challenging, it was more fun because you got to like really piece it together,
Yeah, man. And I mean, it turned out so good. I mean, I won't give anything away as well because we want people to watch this movie. It deserves to be enjoyed, But, it was just something different that I haven't seen. Like, you take a lot of elements from other stories and stuff, but in a really, really refreshing way, if that makes sense, I found myself laughing out loud a lot just because sometimes jokes can be very complicated in movies, especially like horror films and stuff. These were just more simple. They were funny. I really, really liked it, And for people starting out, I mean, who want to do things like you do and make a horror movie or make a comedy, finding a location, I assume, can be a tricky thing. I mean, again, without giving it away, a lot of this film takes place in this cabin. What was it like getting this location? Was that hard to find? Did somebody have this cabin? Just for people who are trying to figure out, how do you do it?
Yeah. No, it was great because I think like, once we had the script, it was just about finding that place that could fulfill all those needs because on paper, even though it's all one place, it's a lot of places within one place. So, and it was also trying to figure out how to keep it entertaining without feeling dull. Because sometimes you'll film in one place and it's just like, you can only see so many things and then it becomes repetitive and not really engaging. So I think the fun part was we would find different places, but ultimately we landed on this one. It was a place in Malibu up in a mountain. So it was really kind of deserted and it let us have a better space of like letting the crew put all their equipment everywhere and using different rooms for like green rooms and makeup and hair and all these things. And the house, because it was up in a hill, it had a lot of real estate around it for us to kind of go shoot these other exterior shots to make it look like we were far and away. Once we settled on that location, it kind of dictated to us how we needed to change certain scenes. Some scenes, we're not going to give away any reveals, but some scenes that took place like at a jacuzzi or something like that. But in reality, on the script, it was in a fridge or something. And it was like, okay, well, we don't have the space to do that. We don't have the ability. So how do we adapt this location to those needs? And I think ultimately it ended up working out really well, because it's like, once you see it, you go, oh, that, that works. Everything makes sense. It gave us enough real estate to really make each location kind of stand out every time we went back to it, or film it different to make sure it doesn't look, the same. So I think that was the challenging part, but also because we found that one place, it's owned by these like recording sound engineers who record a lot of bands out there.
Oh, wow.
They were really welcoming and fun. And they were very supportive of like the indie filmmakers, so they always told us, if you know anybody else who wants to use this space, just let us know. They'll work out a deal. They get it. They understand like the artist trying to like make their work with a little bit of money. So yeah.
I mean, thank God for that. I mean, I feel like this film as well, I can't imagine it in a different place. It just kind of like fit the tone very well too. And yeah, thank God for that. It was a really good place to have it. Now go back to yourself a bit more, Werner.
Yeah.
Well, like how you became a director. How did you get into filmmaking? I know we mentioned earlier on you worked on loads of movies as like assistant to director, production assistant and stuff. But where did your itch for filmmaking start?
It's crazy. I was in school and I was already in my senior year of college, gonna get ready to graduate, and I was gonna go into like law. I was gonna be a lawyer or like in some kind of police force or something like that, really like Secret Service. And I saw a contest on YouTube, funny enough, for like a video contest for like HP computers or something like that. It was like a collaboration. And I just saw it and I thought of an idea and I was like, oh, that'd be really funny and also easy. Selfishly, I was like, I don't want to do anything complicated. And I entered the contest. I did with some friends and I ended up placing like in the semifinals. And they gave me like this artist laptop package, as a reward. Mm-hmm. And that really kind of gave me the confidence to just be like, oh, like that was just having fun and hanging out with my friends with like 20% effort, maybe. Not to knock it, but it was just kind of, I didn't think about it as something serious. I just thought like, let's just have fun and do this, So because of that result, and because I've always loved movies, I love watching movies, I love understanding how they get made and stuff like that. So when I saw that, I thought, oh, like, so if I just divert 100% of my effort to filmmaking, I think I have a shot of having some kind of placement in that field, Mm-hmm. So then I just made it 180 and I completely changed my college career, and I added film as a major, and I stayed another year to get all those classes and like that additional degree. And then I graduated, and then it became like, how do I get that first job, Yeah. So what shit just ended up kind of happening, luckily, because they were filming a movie in my city. And I ended up getting to meet somebody that worked there. And I said, hey, can I work for free? I'll do anything, And then they luckily brought me on for a day, and, a day turned into a week. And then a week turned into like, hey, you want to come do this next movie with us? And then it just kind of snowballs from there,
Yeah.
So I was really thankful and very fortunate, but like also just like taking a chance on myself to like have fun and enjoy something that I was passionate about.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes the best directors, someone who actually doesn't do it because it's like, oh, this is what I want to do. This is like, oh, this was fun, If you're a fan of Love of Film and you're watching us here on YouTube, please subscribe. I mean, it would really help us. I mean, if you like our stuff, we post reels all the time on Instagram, on TikTok, and please leave a review. Reviews do great for us. I mean, helps us make more of these videos on Apple Podcast reviews. That's where the magic happens. So if you have time and want to give your thoughts, it doesn't have to be positive too. If you don't like what I'm doing, you can write that down. You can get angry. Yeah, leave a review. If you're enjoying Love It Film over here, the show with me talking to these people about movie things, you can help us directly by signing up to our Patreon. The links are in the bio. I mean, hey, a little goes a long way. So if you want to do that, I really appreciate it. And coming from an outsider, I love movies as well, man. I mean, I'm obsessed with it. I mean, our set here, there's like posters of Halloween, Back to the Future, everything, from indie movies to the biggest movies, stuff like that. And hearing like you be a production assistant and assistant to director on things like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, like me in my head, I'm like, whoa, that film is incredible. Matt Reeves. I mean, just for me as an outsider who has never been in the industry like that, what is the situation like that like? Is it intimidating having any type of a job on a movie like that?
Yeah, it's definitely intimidating, especially because like, funny enough, like for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I remember watching the movie before that, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, like maybe 2 months before that project. And I just remember sitting there watching it at the time, and I just thought to myself, like, man, it'd be so cool to work on that kind of set, because like there's so much VFX and like these apes and things like that. I was just curious, like, how does that work? And then I get the call, like, hey, you want to come do this movie? It's the sequel. And I was like, what? You know, so it was definitely intimidating, but it was also gratifying because I got to really be thrown in the mix of like the production, like logistical workflow of day to day to how to get that movie made. So basically the movie worked in a way where Matt Reeves was shooting his main unit stuff during the day, right? So it was a 12-hour shoot for his stuff. And then they'd have a night crew come in and shoot all the way overnight till the next day, like an action unit for a lot of the big stunt work that he couldn't do. Wow. So I got to kind of play and bounce around in both from time to time. So the biggest sequence that I got to be a part of was like the end of that movie when like there's a tank kind of rolling through the hill and it's like blowing up different parts. I was a big part of that, where I was on the radio because there was so much explosions going on that they needed somebody next to the director of photography in case he wanted to call cut. Because if we have one explosion go off, but he wanted to save the rest, we'd have to cut right away, reset, and make sure we could use the explosions again. And it was scary because I was the trigger man on the radio to be like, cut, like stop it right there. Don't save the explosions. Don't hit them. You know?
The pressure of that.
It was major. But it was super fun and just really cool to watch a guy like Matt Reeves work, because I'm a fan of him as well, all the way back from when he did like Cloverfield, you know, because he's just such a smart guy. And I think he's got a good head on his shoulder. What's the word? Intellectual. Speaks about how he directs. You know, I really appreciate how he speaks about it. So it was fun to watch him work. And I got to really enjoy a lot on that one. It was in New Orleans, a lot of crazy VFX. So it'd be like, you shoot the take. They come in with like the little silver ball and the little rainbow card, and they film that too. And then they film a clean play. It was like a lot of repetition, but a lot to learn from for sure.
I'd say so, man. I would do that every day for free. I mean, that sounds so cool. Just even like, even like a job like that, I mean, saving an explosion, and I might like the pressure of that. I mean, that's money right there. You know, like if you get that wrong, it's like, oh, I can't imagine. It's so cool.
Be like a scarring moment in my life of like, if I don't say cut and they miss that, I'm like, I am so screwed, you know?
Yeah, I mean, what better way to learn too as a director? I mean, being in such a huge blockbuster, even like, as I said, I do it for free. It fascinates me, man. It's so interesting.
I would still to this day do a lot of those jobs for free because like I still have like that passion for seeing how things get made. So if there was a great opportunity, I would 100% still take it for free. You know what I mean? Like I have no shame.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And as I said, as I read as well, Iron Man 3, I mean, was that a similar situation? You're in the thick of it, you're helping out these guys, helping get things working smoothly.
Yeah, similar vibe because they came to Miami to shoot for I think it was like 2 weeks or something like that. So I kind of took it upon myself to really like put myself in the position of being somebody that they needed, you know? So I would always be the person who would answer every call or work with the extras to set them up in a way that would make sense for the shot and get it approved by the director to make sure it all looked good. Robert Downey Jr. was a nice guy. He was super fun.
Oh man, that's so
again,
cool.
like it was. And again, that was kind of a funny moment where it broke a little bit of the Hollywood magic for me, because at that point, you see Iron Man, it's like a metal suit, it's all cool, but when you're filming it, it's like a hunk of plastic and like a really like gray suit with like dots on it and everything. And
wow.
Like, and it's kind of like it takes away the illusion for a minute because you can hear the plastic just kind of clankety-clanking around. It's not sexy. It's just like some piece of hardware they got to put on before they roll, you know?
Yeah, and as the Marvel movies were going on, you know, I'd imagine Robert Downey Jr., his actual practical things he was wearing were getting less and less each movie. By the third one, it was Shane Black who directed the third one, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, so by the third one, was there a lot on him? Was it just like a chest piece? Was there maybe like...
It was like one chest piece and like the rest was just like a suit, really, you know?
Oh wow, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Again, something I do for free, 100%. I mean, I like, you know, I'd skip anything to work on something like that. It's so interesting to me. I mean, yourself, as you're saying, you love movies too. I asked this question to a good few directors who come onto the show. We all have a favorite movie, you know. Sometimes people don't, but there's always a favorite movie, and then sometimes there's the movie you have the biggest emotional connection to. And for me, like I have two different movies like that. I mean, my favorite movie is Back to the Future just because it's the best. But, you know, there's another movie called About Time, which I have a big emotional connection to. So I'll throw the question to you. Do you have a favorite movie and then a movie you have a big emotional connection to?
Yeah, I think favorite movie is, it's funny because it's one that people don't really expect, but it's The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, which is David Fincher. It's really random, I know, but it's also just like a great movie that explores the idea of growing up and how that doesn't change even when you throw like a mystical idea behind it. You know, he's old, but he still grows up just like anybody else. He still goes through the same kind of changes of like hormones and puberty and just like love and loss and heartache and grief and all these things. And it's a really kind of magical film. And I appreciate it because it's so different from anything David Fincher does from his usual like kind of serial killer, dark, kind of serious vibe or something. So that's a personal favorite one to me. But one that's emotionally more favorite for me is Jurassic Park, because that was a movie that I remember my brother taking me to a theater. And I just remember like that was one of those first experiences, like big screen, you're a kid, you're seeing dinosaurs walk across the screen, and they look, even to this day, they still look so real. And so just like, how did they possibly make this? And it's just so mystical and like wonderful and grand with the score from John Williams. And I just love that movie. It is just so much fun. Like it never gets old. It never gets dull. It is just still the same fun Steven Spielberg adventure it was when I was a kid, you know?
It just holds up, man. I mean, that first very early CGI of the T-Rex mixed in with the practical effects, you know, it kind of just created this medium ground that was just pure magic. And Benjamin Button as well. That I think that's an underrated movie. Sometimes I feel like talking about it, people forget about it, you know? I mean, the simple thing in that film I love is Rain. Do you know that scene where I forget the name of the main character, the lady, and she's old and she's in a bed, but it's lashing rain outside the hospital window. I just thought that was something about that rain was just perfect to me.
Really pretty,
Yeah, I mean, getting back onto yourself though, on like things you want to do. Is there a dream project you're looking at the moment where you either have a script or you're thinking of an idea that you really want to make?
Yeah, you know, so the hard part after finishing a project, or especially even like my first feature, is trying to find what's next. And you kind of find yourself thinking a little more critically about what that is, because A, you don't want to shoebox yourself in with like something you just did. And B, you want to make sure it can stand out even better than what you did before. So that's kind of, I'm caught in the middle of right now finding what that is. And truthfully, I think what that project is genre-wise is like a thriller or some kind of horror movie, which I think everyone wants to do because they're cheaper to make and they're easier to get out there to the masses in some ways. So that's definitely something I'm playing with. But do I have a script right away? No. Are we playing with concepts with different writers? Yes. You know, what those are and what they will be, who knows? Because when you're so early in that process, you have no idea except for like an image in your head. And so hopefully we find what that is soon. You know, I'm talking to some of the same producers and writer from the same project as Best Man, Dead Man. And hopefully there's something there. But if not, there's other writers that I'm working with as well. And there's other producers who I've gotten to know over the years through these projects that I worked on as like a production assistant to hopefully bring those relationships to fruition. Because I think I can say that in all this time, all those relationships you build when you work, they do come to fruition in some way. Like that's how Best Man, Dead Man got made, because I wouldn't have met half the crew that I got to hire for myself if I hadn't done those other projects as a production assistant in general. You know, we're all trying to do our own thing outside of work, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, I look forward to seeing it. I really think you deserve to be making more movies because I really, really enjoyed Best Man, Dead Man. I just thought it was something different. It's something funny. And it's not something you'd even find on like Netflix or something like that. It's something people should watch because you can tell you guys really, really put your heart into it. And getting back onto the subject of Best Man, Dead Man, because it's great and people should see it. When you first got the script, was it difficult to translate what was written onto the screen? Or like, did you guys do storyboards, or were you just like, okay, we got our location, these actors all come from improv, let's just let them go with what's written?
Yeah, I think when I first read it, I was definitely intimidated because A, I had never done comedy, and B, to do a murder mystery that kind of moves so fast in pace, I just wasn't sure about. So I was definitely intimidated by it. But the first thing I did was try to make it make sense to myself. And when I had pitched myself to direct the movie, what I did was I made a sizzle reel. So, a sizzle reel consists of like different clips and ideas and music to kind of present the tone and vision of what you think the movie is. Mm-hmm. So in doing that, I really found kind of my stride of what I wanted. I took a lot of clips from like 21 Jump Street, Clue, Hangover, Dexter to show those insert shots. And I kind of made this mashup, trailer of what I would be like, oh, if I saw this trailer, like that's the movie I'd want to see, So once I did that, it kind of helped me figure out where we were going. And I did have some storyboards done, but that was more just to like, show them a funny idea and frame of like what I was thinking when somebody gets murdered, and like, what do you cut to and what do you see to make that like really kind of land? So I did a lot of those things for myself. I think the sizzle reel was definitely the thing that helped me see the movie the most. Because even if I didn't show them that sizzle reel, I would have had it for myself to be like, okay, this is the movie that I want to make,
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, it's an interesting way of doing it too, because like even those movies you mentioned, like 21 Jump Street and Dexter, the series, I mean, they're all brilliant shows and movies. So I mean, that's a great way of trying to explain where you want to go with it, Mm-hmm. Now, but back onto the actual movie itself, if you could describe it in 3 words for people who haven't seen it, what would it be? I know it's probably very difficult.
I know it's funny, right? Because I just looked at my own thing and I have it right there behind me.
So murder, mystery, matrimony,
and matrimony.
Yeah.
But I would also just throw in an extra word, mayhem, because it does get, as you've seen, like diabolical and adultly humorous, I'll say.
Mm-hmm. in a funny way, like as I said, sometimes things would be stupid, but it was actually very funny,
Yeah, now, that's kind of like the way that I think I intend people to watch it. Like if you're a fan of Clue, if you're a fan of Hangover, this is like adult humor and silliness and like lightheartedness. This isn't like The Prestige, this isn't like some Sundance darling. It's a comedy, murder mystery. Like
it's a good time.
Just have a good time,
And again, I used to be a bartender, and seeing these cocktails, they look really, really delicious. Did you get to try any of them after they were made?
I did not try any because I think everything was like not chilled or cold, so everything was just like there made on the spot. So we did not try any of them. I'm sure one of these days we will when we have a little party get together, like reunion, but for now, did not have any of them.
Now, for people to watch the movie too, you say it's on a streaming service, right? We don't have it in Ireland, but a lot of our viewers are from the US where they can watch the movie.
Gotcha.
Is it Zumo Play? I know it's written behind you. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah, it's called Zumo Play. It's a new platform similar to like Tubi or Pluto TV, where it's like a free streaming service that's available. I think it's from Universal and like Spectrum. So it's kind of their way of coming back into getting those cable audiences back, So it's like, it's live TV, it's movies, it's all in one space, free, like no logins. You don't even have to sign up with an email address. You can just like click the link, which I think Chloe already has. So you can also blast that if you'd like, but it's just a click away to just watch the movie. It's really simple, but 50 million subscribers. So it's kind of, as a filmmaker, it's just a success to have it in a space where anybody can watch it, so.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's great to get people to see it. As I said, I think it's great. I think people should be watching it. There's a lot of, stupid movies and stuff that are made just for the wrong reasons that are just everywhere, I think. And it's good to get some from people who are actually, really trying out there. Now, as I said, too, Love It Film, we're always about inspiring people who want to be directors, filmmakers, actors, and they want to learn from people like you, man, who have worked on big projects, who, you've made your first feature. Would you have any advice for people who want to do what you do?
I think my advice to anybody would be to do your homework on what it is you want to do and talk to as many people as you can, like make your friendships count, because a lot of us are out there trying to do the same thing. And I feel like when you kind of surround yourself with like-minded individuals who want to do that, you show up for them, they show up for you, you learn through them, we all learn through each other's mistakes. There is no right way to do something. There's just your way. And to do that, you have to find that, yourself, even if you have nothing and you want to just make your own movie, I would say do it, because that's how I did it too. You know, I didn't think about having a budget. I just kind of tried to make it. And then you kind of figure out, oh, that wasn't good. This was kind of good. Here's what I want to fix next time, you know? And then you have a goal next time, which is like, oh, I want to do this thing next. So I'd really advise people just to kind of stick to it, stick to your guns, you know, make sure you make those friendships count, and like, don't be afraid of putting yourself out there with others so you can find that network of people that you'll best work with.
Now, again, people starting off, that's what to listen to. I mean, everything you said there is like things I didn't know too. And like me, I don't want to be a filmmaker, but I love film. I'm obsessed with hearing things about it. So, I mean, your advice for anyone starting out, it's good advice. Now, Verner, you're awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. I mean,
Jamie, thank you so much, man.
It's great to hear from somebody who has been in, you know, who actually is doing it themselves, putting their heart into things, and have worked in like loads of different roles. And it's just so interesting to hear you talk about these things, man. So thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Jamie. No, I mean, I appreciate you guys having the ability to create this space for all of us to talk about it, because I wish when I was back in college figuring this out, like I had these places to go learn. So it's great that you guys are doing it. Like, you guys are the champions. So, and I really appreciate you guys even welcoming me on. So.
Man, I mean, people have to watch the movie though. Best Man, Dead Man, Zoo and Play. That's where to go. That's what to watch. It's a great time. So if you haven't seen it, please do check out that film.
And thank you so much, for real.
Yeah, thanks, man. And good luck with the next few projects. I'll be watching them. Okay, it's good stuff.
We'll stay in touch. Absolutely.
Hi guys, my name is Chris and this is Love It Film. We're filmmakers and, well, we want to learn from the best. So tune in every Friday as we interview filmmakers, actors, directors, writers, you name it, anyone in the industry, because, well, we don't know how to make a film, but we want to find out how.
Mr. Miyagi trounces me and then my hand goes over the light and turns it off, right? You know, that's a really astute observation. In all this time, I never kind of put that together. Interesting.
You know, actors can wear a lot of different hats. One of the biggest misconceptions that I've come across, at least certainly since Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, which is what I'm known for best, a lot of people still think that video games is voice acting. And although that's still true to some extent, the majority of the time, it's not.
Jamie, I'll just tell you, I'm here for a reason. I think that the way you're doing what you're doing, you're asking good questions, you're investing in the arts, the artistic process, you're trying to demystify it for your audience. And I think that all of that is excellent. And I'm very happy that I can be a part of what you're trying to accomplish.